Washington football team, the Washington Commanders, the Washington Commies, will they go back and call themselves what they should be?
That's going to make Dan Snyder feel.
Do you think it's possible they even change the name? Just to get rid, just remove all trails and traces of Dan Snyder. Do you think that's possible?
I think so. Yes, I think there's a pretty good chance of that, to erase any part of the Snyder legacy, to have a complete do-over. I would not be surprised at all, Rich, if we see a name change and a complete.
This story right here has actually got a lot more nuance than you might would think. A lot of people right here saying that the Washington football team has obviously decided to go away from the woke name of Washington Commanders, which, by the way, I still don't understand, because now people are just going to call them the commies, which is exactly what the wokes are, just a bunch of communists, or, of course, they're faux communists or champagne communists. Either way, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the nuance of this entire situation, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on exactly what the team should do going forward. Now, me personally, being the anti-PC person that I am, I would say change the name back to its original, seeing how it is that the franchise was created in the 1930s. They would win 3 Lombardis. It's a storied franchise, and obviously the fans of the old guard have obviously got some form of gripe. But then again, though, at the same time, though, the controversy about this entire situation, which before it got completely ramped up in 2020 during the George Floyd protests, which I have no idea how the hell this even got brought up. The controversy originally was that the natives who were upset about the name were upset about the fact that it did not honor a specific tribe. Of course, you're going to be hearing about polls in this video too, because Mike Florio is going to come up, and once again, you've got to put a liberal in his place, because obviously it is just another person out there carrying the narrative. However, here is the thing about this entire situation. August the 14th was Navajo Code Talkers Day. I want you to keep that in mind, and I want you to keep these photos in mind as we talk about this, because obviously we're going to be bringing this up too. And even though I may not be able to change your mind, I should be able to at least give you a different perspective that may actually point you in a different direction. So make sure you guys stick around for the full video. Now, with that right there being said, let me go ahead and roll this news clip for you guys, so that way you guys can see exactly what's going on.
Their online petition, thousands of fans are hoping for a return to the team name that was in place for 3 Super Bowls and a whole lot of controversy.
Josh Rosenthal's at FedEx Field tonight with the details and also with more.
What do you think of the name Commanders?
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's no secret. A lot of Commanders fans aren't exactly in love with the new name.
I just don't like the name. I mean, it just seems like it doesn't make any sense.
But while some are hoping for a new one altogether,
Maybe Red Tails. You know, I think that's Red Wolves. Even Warthogs would be better.
tens of thousands of other fans badly want the old name to come back. As of Tuesday evening, more than 69,000 people had signed this Change.org petition, which reads in part, "We believe that restoring the old name is the right decision for the team, its loyal fan base, and the legacy it represents."
And I think they should go back to the original name.
The team, though, isn't so sure. We reached out for comment, noting that members of the new Commanders ownership group, including Josh Harris and Magic Johnson, have used the old team name multiple times in interviews since purchasing the team. In response, a spokesperson sent us a statement saying, "For nearly 90 years, this franchise had a different name, and fans and our new owners alike have fond memories of cheering for that team and watching it win 3 Super Bowls. Making a historical reference to watching and rooting for the team does not signify a shift, nor does it change the reasons for dropping the name."
Would you have a problem with them going back to the old historic team name?
Yes, I would. I just feel it's offensive.
Although this might surprise you, the majority of fans we spoke with Tuesday at this grocery store near FedEx Field sounded like this.
It's been the name always. Are you worried that people take offense to that name?
No.
Always known them as the Washington, whatever, y'all know the rest. So, yes, I would look forward to that.
Now, one thing worth mentioning, while the new Commanders ownership group may not be willing to go back to the old name when previously asked about a name change in general, so just something different than Commanders, they did not completely shut the idea down.
You heard Rich Eisen earlier in this video. Okay, it seems to me like the organization is trying to get away from anything Dan Snyder related. However, the name itself, Washington Redskins. YouTube, by the way, I'm just giving you the old name of the team. I know how you guys love to yellow dollar sign anything that's something you don't agree with, but still at the same time, though, when it's actual historical fact, this is what this franchise was called, which, by the way, still won 3 Lombardis, and under that name, I don't think it's a good idea to actually come over here and say, look, we don't like what you have to say, when obviously I'm actually telling you the truth. The fact of the matter is that the vast majority of the older fans, they would prefer the name go back to the original. Now, me being the anti-PC person, I'm always going to view them as the Washington Redskins, never as the Washington football team or the Washington Commanders, because, let's be honest, Washington Commanders just straight up sounds gay. And like I said, commies, it's kind of the woke name that was given to them. Yeah, I think we should just get away from that. And of course, I'm not expecting this team to change their name back to the original name, because obviously Magic Johnson is very, very much involved in this. So they may come up with something that's even worse than Commanders. But still, they want to get away from anything and everything that involves the worst owner in NFL history. Look. When Dan Snyder took over that team, he made a lot of extremely bad choices. And by the way, I'm not a Washington fan, okay? I'm a Packers fan. But still, though, it's pathetic. It's sad to see a franchise as great as that one get completely destroyed by this guy. So obviously they want to move on from the past, and I understand that. But then again, at the same time, though, you got to be wary of erasing the past. You shouldn't be doing this. I mean, dude, look at how these guys honored the late Sean Taylor. I mean, come on, you couldn't come up with a statue? Come on, dude. Now, that right there is a situation where a statue needs to be redone. I just figured I'd go ahead and throw that out there. Here's the deal. This situation, and I understand the gripes from all sides, and like I've said before, I think the best thing would have been to go back to the original name, mostly due to the fact that the fans have that apparel. I mean, look, guys, inflation is through the roof. Do you guys know the price of NFL apparel? It's not cheap. But then again, at the same time, though, I understand the native argument where they're saying, well, look, if you're going to name it after us, at least name it after a certain tribe. Of course, there are some natives out there who want to be woke and anti-American and anti-the white guy and all that stuff there. And, of course, you've got the woke crowd, which, quite frankly, will never shut the hell up and, quite frankly, just lives to make people's lives a living hell, which, by the way, is mostly white people who actually do this. Very, very weird, very, very odd how that's the case. Almost like they're trying to cover something up from history. You're just not going to be able to do this. Honestly, to tell you the truth, if I was Native American, I would be proud to be Native American. I mean, dude, you guys fought on the hills for so long, fought out there in the land, and I'll never change my opinion on the Black Hills and Mount Rushmore stuff. I've already done a few videos on that, talking about brother Jalen Rose, who, by the way, lost his job, doesn't work there anymore, so there's one less woke at ESPN we got to deal with. But I understand the argument, and of course I understand that these people obviously did, in fact, continue to survive, and their culture obviously still lives on. But I think it'd be best said by
we
this
have
guy
fought to try to preserve. We are survivors, and those are evidence of our culture still surviving. I think if they do change their name and they still want to be affiliated with something Native American, they could be more specific than general and maybe choose a specific tribe or culture. Those are my thoughts.
Sounds to me like he's saying to himself, look, as long as you just name it after some tribe or whatnot, as long as you name it after some piece of our culture, that would be okay. Me being the boomer, crusty old millennial, which, by the way, I'm thinking about changing the name of the channel to. I obviously look at this situation and say, dude, you know what, man? You've won 3 Super Bowls. You probably shouldn't change the name, especially in this moniker here. Same thing with the Cleveland Indians. I didn't believe that they should change their name. But, of course, my Braves, we went through this controversy in 2021 where Bob Nightingale, Jeff Passan, and all these wokesters out there like John Heyman and them were screaming that the Atlanta Braves needed to change their name. Quite frankly, I don't think the name should be changed. I mean, it's just the way that it is. And the more and more that you ask people to change their name, the more and more people are just going to give you the middle finger, say F you, and continue on. But then we get this guy here.
I think they're floating a trial balloon to see if they can
100%. Yes.
That if they can go back.
Right.
That they can go back to that name.
Yes.
Because I had somebody point out to me over the weekend, somebody from one of the other teams, is like, if it hadn't been Daniel Snyder, would there have been such a push to change the name? And my reaction is yes. I mean, a slur is a slur. And maybe if Daniel Snyder wasn't so reviled, maybe it wouldn't have coalesced. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
But I feel like they want to see what the reaction is, and then they want to explore the possibility of going back to that name at some point down the road. What it's definitely done, it's dusted off the the folks out there that never wanted to change the name in the first place, and they're very aggressive, and they're putting false statistics out there to support their position, but they are back on the horse for the name to come back, and they sense an.
I don't like Mike Florio. Never have liked him. More than likely, never will. He's a complete total tard. I got to say it that way because of the YouTube algorithm. He's never been bright, in my opinion. He's kind of an orator of misinformation. Like, I remember every like 2 seconds there was an article coming out about Aaron Rodgers, and it typically added up to absolutely nothing because none of the articles are ever true. This guy right here is definitely a wokester, but I think he's more fake woke to keep his job because obviously his job relies on lies and BS. But the polling thing, well, here's the thing about the polling thing. When you poll Washington fans on the old name, as you guys saw earlier, most of the old fan base, which by the way does include some natives, not a whole lot, they're okay with going back to the original name. As a matter of fact, they would prefer to go back to the original name. As I mentioned earlier, they still have Washington Redskin paraphernalia, and paraphernalia is pretty daggone expensive. So obviously, they don't, with the inflation and how things cost and everything, they want to keep the old stuff. However, they would prefer to keep the old name. However, there are a lot of people, mostly white liberals, mostly white suburbanites, with some natives, of course, a good portion of them, who protest the name outright and think it should be changed. Of course, there's a certain section of that group, which I mentioned earlier, who just wants the name changed to something related to Native American culture or possibly a Native American tribes. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So obviously, being the anti-PC guy I am, I have to think about an actual solution to this problem. Well, August the 14th, which by the way was yesterday, was National Code Talkers Day. Yes, the Navajo Code Talkers, which by the way I'm going to give you guys a brief history lesson on. There was a movie that came out in 2002, I believe, called Wind Talkers. I actually owned the copy. The reason why I say believe is because I don't exactly remember the actual year that it came out, but I owned the film itself. It stars Nicolas Cage, Adam Beach, Peter Stormare is in it. I believe it's Peter Stormare. The guy who played the astronaut, the Russian astronaut Lev in Armageddon. Well, the thing is this right here. That film, I would later on find out, was actually based on a true story. And me, of course, I would eventually join the Marines in 2003 and learn a little bit more about the Navajo Code Talkers. These men should have all got Medals of Honor, in my opinion. I mean, they should have gotten every award you could give. You see, what a lot of people don't know is that during World War II, the Marines in the Pacific, we had a hard time getting our messages across to one another. We had a very hard time over the radio because the Japanese were very good at intercepting our messages. We were losing a lot of men. By the way, if you actually look up the casualty counts from battles on the Pacific and you compare it to battles on the Western Front, meaning in Europe, you'll find something very odd, especially if you go to Wikipedia. Normally what you'll see is killed and those left alive. You don't see very, very many wounded, at least on the Japanese front. The reason why is because the Japanese, they still, for the most part, went by the Bushido Code, ride or die, okay, death before dishonor. If we're outnumbered, and we've only got like 10 guys in the hole against 200, we're going to all charge out and kamikaze them. That's how the Japanese rolled. So you'll notice some disparaging stuff within the casualty counts itself. The Marines were fighting an extremely tough and determined enemy, and the Navajo Code Talkers, quite frankly, helped save a lot of men's lives. It even includes some soldiers too, and these men obviously deserve to be honored. So here's an idea. Seeing how it is that I would prefer that the team just go back to the old name, which by the way is going to be a little bit too much to ask, why not name it something akin to the Navajo Code Talkers? Why not name it something like that? Why not give it a name? I haven't actually created one in my brain because I just now got a hold of this story now, but why not name it off of something that the Navajo Code Talkers did? Name it off an accomplishment. Try to find something related to them. I'm pretty sure if you did that right there, I'm pretty sure everybody, for the exception of the wokes, because obviously they're going to poo-poo it, but I'm pretty sure 2/3 of the crowd would actually be happy. Why not change it to something related to the Navajo Code Talkers? With that right there being said, guys, make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section, and I shall see you guys later.